Skibidi. It's such a strange and interesting word that my son and his friends have been throwing around a lot. I didn't know what it meant, but when I drove this Syros, I thought this is Skibidi. As per the internet, Skibidi can be used for the good, the bad, and the absurd, which in itself is absurd, but it's right for the Syros because it's all of those things. And if you haven't, don't Google Skibidi, and if you haven't, don't buy the Syros. Not just yet. I know its design has got your attention, its cabin has got your heart, and that backseat is sure to blow you away. But when you hit the road, the Syros isn't going to blow you away. It's going to bounce and rattle you. The Syros needs to be more than just a great set of seats and screens. It needs to be a great car. And Kia has shown us that they can make great cars, like with the Sonet, which may not be as much of a living room, a storage room, or an electronics showroom as the Syros is. But it's the better car. Most Kia designs are great. The Syros, not so much. It's trying to be futuristic, and that can be odd. And odd can be charming. Skoda's Yeti is a great parallel and comparison to the Syros' oddness. But the Syros is just plain odd. Shubi put it hilariously. He said, if the Syros were available in brown, it would be like an Amazon package. Boxy, right? And the Syros, under that futuristic face, is actually using two old and mundane ideas. It's got those slabby sides, which makes a lot of room on the inside. And like most cars do to feel big on the inside, it's gone tall. And it is tall. Along with that, while your fascination for the Syros will grow fast, it is also likely to fade fast. One of the reasons is because your insurance premiums will go up fast, because those headlamps and tail lamps are at the corners, which is asking for trouble. And then, while it is looking head-turning, when you get up close, you'll notice that all those heavy plastics on the sides and at the front, they scratch and dirty easily. Then there are the seams on the window edges, which means this 20 lakh rupee car feels a bit toyish and budget. The Syros doesn't have riz on the outside, but its cabin is loaded with it. Every rupee that's been spent in the cabin works twice as hard to win you over. And it will. This cabin looks cool and unconventional. But in one key area, Kia has stayed conventional. It's the premium look and feel of this cabin, which will give its rivals sleepless nights because no one can match up to it. No one. Of course, your attention will be drawn with some features or gimmicks, like the ventilation function for the second row, which is kind of like a car with only half the wheels, not very helpful. But the air conditioning will be helpful all the time. It certainly was on a 40-degree afternoon, where despite this large glass area, I didn't melt like an ice cream. As for this backseat, it's so good, it will give sedans a complex. No cap. No, seriously, even 6-footers will be comfortable here. It's one of those rare cars where the under-thigh support and the headroom is excellent.
You know something else that's excellent? It's on the MotorInc app. It's called Circles. It's not because of what we made, it's because of what you are making it. A place where anybody can come in and get reliable and dependable information about your cars and bikes. What it's like to live with them so that we can all make better decisions. And while you're there, you should talk about the vehicles that you own as well. Seeing you there will be excellent.
Space in this cabin is excellent. The boot space, though, can seem sus at first. It's because it feels smaller than you'd imagined, and it is awkwardly shaped. It's tall. But remember that the second row seats can slide forward. And when you do, you can pack in way more luggage here than you could in a Creta or Seltos. It is excellent on this front. And that's without compromising the comfort of your occupants in the second row. But there is stuff on the Syros that is properly sus. And that's here. The sound system. Its name sounds cooler than the sound itself. And then there are these large screens, which aren't really solving a problem. The driver's digital instrument cluster is actually doubling down on the problem of stuff that gets hidden behind the steering wheel. In the dial view of this cluster now, you can't see the speedometer from 20 kilometers an hour to 160 kilometers an hour. You can't see the rev counter from 2000 RPM to 7000 RPM. That's half the screen. Why should I be paying for it? This is fundamentally down to poor ergonomics, which is why finding a good seating position takes time. And you can also see that with the cup holders. They look deep and useful, but they will only be useful if you're heading to a Starbucks and getting your venti cups, which means you shouldn't cheap out on your coffee. But somebody has cheaped out, and in a very familiar area. The suspension of the Syros, it feels like it was bought at an auto parts supermarket, where you'd get deals like 4 for the price of 2 or 4 for $9.99 only. It feels bargain basement. Maybe the suspension isn't cheap, in which case we'd look at the platform, because this was once a Granite and Neos, which has been blown up to become the Syros and has become heavier. It also has more equipment, and then it has to deal with these 17-inch wheels with chunky rubber. And really, the suspension can't control it well enough. It lacks consistency. When you're driving in the city, let me tell you, if you're in the petrol, you're more likely to get bounced around in the back. If you're in the diesel, you're more likely to get bounced around in the front. And on the highway, irrespective of petrol or diesel, the Syros doesn't feel settled and calm. And yes, at some points it is great. Like over some bumps, it feels effortless. At times it's plush. But you can't predict when it does what. And that lack of consistency means a car isn't really safe and enjoyable when you drive. I couldn't have predicted this, but the turbo petrol and DCT combination in the Syros is a mid at best. This is a combination I love in the Sonnet, where after the facelift, it better balanced the joy of driving and usability. And under the weight of its responsibility as a more practical car, this engine's enthusiasm has been squashed. In city conditions, this engine feels lethargic. Its dual-clutch gearbox feels laid back, and you'll feel that combination hit home in a not-so-nice way when you're climbing up a ghat. That's when the sport mode will be useful. Otherwise, it's not really an enthusiastic car to drive, because then you hear the engine. Fuel efficiency isn't its strong point either. You can manage 8 to 11 kmpl in the city, and on the highway it'll manage 16 to 19 kmpl. But if fuel efficiency is your top priority, the diesel will be a better pick. But keep in mind, in this Kia, the refinement of the diesel isn't as impressive. Overall, the Syros' cabin is not as quiet and as refined as you'd imagine it to be. It's not as good as the Sonnet. Okay, let's forget about the suspension, the not-so-great sound insulation, and talk about the other skibbity things on the Syros, like those door handles. They aren't practical. Try using them with some luggage in your hand, or just a cell phone. For these kind of door handles to really be functional at a basic level, they have to be motorized. I'd much rather have that than this third screen between these two main screens. That's for the air conditioning system, but the physical buttons are better to use. And we'd spoken about ergonomics, right? Here, the aircon vent's position is great to chill the driver's hands. And while you're driving, you can't really look at the two stalks to read what's written there for the headlamps or for the wipers. And then there's the steering wheel. It looks great, but the controls on it are reversed. Media's on the right and the menu for the driver's instrument clusters on the left. It's meant for a left-hand drive car. The Syros, with its futuristic design and its bold concept, shows a way forward for small cars, where they aren't just compact, they're also uber practical. Spacious for the family, in the backseat, in the boot, something you can live with every day or travel with as well. Something that's accessible but at the same time premium. On many of these fronts, Kia has nailed it with the Syros. But as a car, as a tool for mobility, this Syros doesn't feel like it's from the future or aimed there. It feels like it's from the past. And this is a page that Kia needs to turn once and for all, where they don't just make cars that look and feel good, but they drive beautifully as well. When I think about it right now, the Syros almost feels like a beta. The things that are right will translate beautifully to the Syros EV as well, right? And sure, the Syros ICE will one day be good, and Kia has shown that in the past. But until that happens, we'll just call the Syros Skibbity.